are you willing to have fine for the rest of your life?
You become a living saint and they have parades in your honor.
Okay!
Sometimes I feel like change is impossible. I remember when I got my first book published and I went to visit it at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
And I literally felt nothing. And I thought, oh my God, I've wasted like my whole life. I wanted to publish a book and this was a complete waste of time.
Help me, Gala.
Hello gorgeous and welcome to Vortex Vision, the show where you are the star. I'm your host Gala Darling and this episode is all about personal evolution, starting your life from scratch, like literally burning it down and starting all over again. This episode is going to be so juicy. We have a poetry exercise to help you create your future with your words. We have an interview about what to do when you really want to start from the beginning all over again. And I answer some audience questions about how to do that in specific scenarios. And finally, we have some tapping that will give you all the rocket fuel you need to rewire your subconscious so that making these changes is super easy. I consider myself a little bit of an evolution specialist because in my life I have changed tack so many times. And what I've discovered from doing that is every time I make a big change or I take a big gamble or a risk on myself, the universe rewards me for my courage. I've done lots of different things like moving from New Zealand to Australia to New York to Los Angeles. I changed my name legally when I was about 22 years old and didn't tell my parents. And all these changes I've made, like starting my own business, etc., have really helped me build the personal confidence and fortitude to feel really strong as I make more and more changes. And sometimes things happen to us in our lives and there's this societal idea of what we're supposed to make it mean. But the truth is that you get to make these events mean whatever you want. I got divorced when I was in my early 30s, and a lot of people see that as like a scarlet letter or they feel guilt or shame about it. And when I got divorced, I decided it was gonna be the start of the rest of my life. And I really took that idea and ran with it. So that's something you're gonna learn about today is this idea of redefining these things that happen to you so that they can be affirming and uplifting rather than like a nail in your coffin, because we don't fucking need that. Now, before we get into this, I have to say that one of my personal beliefs is that whatever you really love to do as a child is a seed, a kernel of what's gonna bring you massive purpose and fulfillment as an adult. And making this show is one of those moments for me. I have been having the best time. And I said to my director last night, can we just do this every day? Like, let's figure out how we can do this every single day. And as a child, like many of you, I'm sure, I love to run around with a huge camcorder on my hand and make fake radio stations and magazines. And I was really building my own empire in my mind, and I was like 7. So making this show has been a huge pleasure. And I'm really thrilled that you're here to watch. I hope that you love this. I hope you watch it with your best friend and it really inspires you and you just love it together. So with all that being said, let's get into the episode. Thank you so much for being here. Now on Vortex Vision, I am delighted to be sitting here with my very dear friend, poet queen, Chelsie Diane. And as great as she is as a poet, she's an even more exquisite, if it's possible, poetry teacher. Chelsie teaches these incredible poetry classes to women all around the world to help them liberate their lives, take big risks, and take up more space. She's deeply unapologetic, and I'm just obsessed. Like, as you can tell, I am obsessed with this woman. And today we're gonna do some writing exercises to help you reshape your life, make it over, step into a new paradigm, and I'm gonna do them with you because it's more fun that way. So. Oh
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's gonna be so good. So, okay, before we get into an exercise, tell me why you like to use poetry as a tool for reshaping someone's life.
I was really experimenting with what if science and art met and what would happen at that junction with quantum theory and creating our reality and tapping into our deepest desires.
Yes.
But before I did that, I had to live as if my desires were holy. And I'd been living my whole life as if my desires were not holy. And so one day I woke up and I was like, what if the holiest thing in the world for women and men, everyone, is if we believed our desire was holy?
Yeah.
To get to the poem, we have to go really deep. We have to get.
You got
to
to
the
excavate.
deepest.
This
You
is
have to
like panning
excavate.
for gold, right? You got to get in the muck.
Absolutely. And so a lot of times what I feel like when women come to me with poetry is they're giving me the muck, and that's great. But what I'm really good at, and I've been kind of known to be like a Simon Cowell of poetry, but what I'm good at...
What have you got then?
Right? And so, oh my God. And it's like, why did that turn me on? So I feel like, but what's really important is to be like, what's the deeper truth here? You know, a lot of times women will read lengthy poems to me, and I'll say, what was that about?
Because all they talk about is the moon and the...
Yes. And
River.
I'm like, get in your bot. Like, what happened? What about the crumbs on the floor? Like, what happened what did you see under the table when your dad beat you and that's all you could see? Like, what about love? How did you feel? You know? And like, but one thing that I really like to do is when women are like reading their poetry is to say, what was that about? Because one time I asked that question to a woman and she said, it was about how the only time my father ever read bedtime stories to me was when he was drunk. And that's the poem. And I said, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now go from there. And it was actually this beautiful, and like what the bedtime stories were like, how they changed. Fascinating.
Jesus.
Yeah, so moving. So I think like sometimes the deeper truth is actually just the simplest, most provocative sentence you can write. Sit down at a typewriter and bleed, right? So if you want, we could do it right now.
Let's do it.
Do you want to bleed?
Yeah.
I have this this method that I use, and it's called spoiler alert.
Okay.
And it's about when you're ready, after you've skimmed off the surface, and you realize that you're writing your life into existence, and you're done writing about your trauma, and you're ready to move into
Creation.
Creation.
Yes.
When you're finally ready to, really take radical responsibility and take your life back as your own, then this is the poem. And it's called Spoiler Alert. And so I'll read mine first. And then I want you all to write Spoiler Alert at the top of your page and write your own. Spoiler Alert. So I wrote this in, I don't know, it was like 2018. And everything came true. So, spoiler alert, or is coming true, you know. You write 22,000 more poems. You fire your agent. Women keep coming to your class. They keep coming and coming and coming and coming. Your mother dies without saying she's proud of you. The lover that paints you never calls, not once after you sleep with him. Chelsie, you check your phone for 3 years and never, not once does he call. The cancer never comes back until you're very old and very ready. The kids never drown in the ocean or get kidnapped from a Target. And your Jeep never rolls down the canyon. A coyote never eats your cat. Your book gets published. And that one too. Oh, and that, my God, that will be a surprise. One of your daughters is gay, thank God. You go to Bali and France and walk 10,000 more miles, letting every lesser love move through you like air, like air, like air. You give a TED talk, and let me tell you, you give thousands of more TEDs a talk. You finally find a skincare routine that doesn't break you out like a 14-year-old boy. You run another marathon. Your ex-husband remarries this year. There's a barbecue for one of your children's birthdays, and he's holding his new baby in his new backyard with his new wife. He has to flip a steak. He hands you the baby. You marry again. A few people sit on old quilts. He never not once takes his eyes off you. You have antique rings you engrave. He's not scared of you. He's old enough to lose his mind over Roadhead. He calls you Star. He calls you Finally. You leave him poems on the breakfast table. And he makes you a mosaic into a peony out of glass that you broke. You call him a pain in the ass. You call him all day long. You call him your son, your entire fucking son, your king, your son, God, king. There's a morning you never forget. Not ever. Not when you're 43, the day you moved to Europe. Not when you're 54 and thinking of Botox. And not when you're 63 and holding your third grandchild. And not when you're 98 letting go of their hand. You're standing across the living room, holding your old cross-eyed cat after he made you tea, and you stop. You stop and you say, this is my life. This is my life. This is my life.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
I love you. Oh my God.
So I think that it would be amazing if all of us wrote our own spoiler alert poem.
Okay. Yeah. I think I need my makeup fixed.
So write spoiler alert at the top of your page. And a couple tips that I like to give my poets is to start with you, and that you being yourself. And so it's actually you commanding. You are telling your subconscious what's going to happen.
Right.
And so be really careful about what you write in this poem. Oftentimes, because it will come true. Oftentimes what I have my students doing is getting a clean notebook just for their manifestation. So everything in this comes true is what I have them write at the top. Everything I write in here comes true. And that notebook is the holy book. We don't write about past traumas with men. We don't write about child traumas. We don't write about any of it. It's like this is what's coming for me, you know.
Yeah.
And so in the spoiler alert, I like to say like I said, like you write. My first line was you write 20,000 more poems. And it's your deepest desire. And so, but what you got to believe as you're writing this is that your desires are holy, and you have permission. And you'll notice your subconscious will go to something really big, like a best-selling book or moving to Europe or something that you really deeply want, and you'll shut it down and you'll be like, no, I need to be more reasonable. Instead of a best-selling book, you'll just say you write a book. Or like instead of saying moving to Europe, you'd be like you move to Idaho. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this is in reach. But it's really important that your deepest desires are in the poem, because it's like, you know, when you're a main character and you audition for a supporting role, the director doesn't want you in that role, because the director's gonna be like, that person is shining too bright, and the attention, you know, the scene is gonna be on them. And so you will not get the role. You will be rejected every time when you're a main character applying for a supporting role. And so make sure that you are writing your deepest desire and being true to that as you write your spoiler alert poem. Another thing that I like to do is put specifics, like your age number. Like I said, when you're 43, you move to Europe.
Right.
When you're 63, your third grandchild is born. You know, like I even put my death year, 98, you know. Like, I don't want to do C99. Like, I'll be good. Yeah. Like, I think it's important that you write.
Like, timestamp some of these things.
It is. And there's two things at play. Yes, you're creating your existence, but just as equal and powerful force within you is actually just telling you what is meant for you. So it's both of these at play, right? It's your subconscious saying, if you want it, this is it. This is in your vortex of creation. If you want it, it's there. And then there's also you like reaching for it, right? And putting it down. So yeah, it's about pulling it out and putting it on the page.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Gala,
Yes.
would you read some of your spoiler alert for us?
I would love to. Okay. You create a pink empire and liberate 1 million women.
Okay, first line. First line.
Yeah. Okay. He turns out to be the one, the real one, and he never makes you anxious. You build a house with a beautiful view, high on a hill, so stunning you almost feel embarrassed about it. You never have children and you never regret it. And then this is when you said, don't let the pen leave the paper.
Yes.
You become a living saint and they have parades in your honor.
Okay.
You dye your hair every color of the rainbow and you never fit in, but you constantly call in your perfect magical people. And this is when I started smiling. You and your best friends are like the modern day Cher and Stevie Nicks and Tina Turner, and this is when I really smiled. We all have fabulous stage shows with full pyrotechnics and screaming fans and insane merch.
I'm obsessed.
And the final line is, you have many more dogs and own many more diamonds, but you prefer the dogs.
Okay. Dang.
That makes me so happy to think about.
It's so great.
I love it.
Those are my it's so great.
This has been so special. And, you know, you're my dear friend, but we've never written poetry in my house together, and that felt really special.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
It
you
was
for
my
gracing
greatest
us.
honor.
Gracing us is what the muses do, and that's what you've done.
Thank you.
So how can people find you?
My Instagram is Poems and Peonies, and that's where I write poetry. I have a book called Poems and Peonies, and on my website is chelsiediane.com, and every class I've ever taught is there, live and recorded, and prompts, daily writing prompts and writing playlists. It's all under Poems and Power.
And it's very life-changing. So if you feel inspired by this, and I don't know how you couldn't, make sure you check that out.
Thank you.
I love you. Thanks, baby. That was so great.
It was so great.
Welcome to High Vibe Hotline, where I take your calls and answer your questions. Let's take our first call.
I feel called to change my life by moving to a new city, but I'm absolutely terrified. Help me, Gala.
Okay, well, I can speak to this with a lot of authority because I also have moved many, many times. I moved from New Zealand to Australia, then to New York City by myself, and then to Los Angeles by myself, and then to Orange County by myself. I have done this many times, and it has always been the most exhilarating and scary times of my life, but it also has been such a time of massive expansion. There are some things that you are only going to learn about yourself when you're in a completely new environment by yourself and you're figuring it out. But some of my fondest memories of my entire life are from when I moved to New York City. I was 24 years old. I moved with 2 suitcases. I had like a $3,000 limit on a credit card and no real way of paying my bills. And I lived in a studio apartment in the West Village. I would have to walk up 5 flights of stairs to get there, and the toilet was in the hallway, and the shower was in the kitchen. And I loved it because it was the place I'd always wanted to live. Like when I was 13, 15 years old, I would go to the public library in Wellington, New Zealand, and I would get a stack of guidebooks on New York City, and I would read them, and I would make notes of all the places I wanted to go, all the things I wanted to see and do. And when I finally got there, it was like my dream had actually been realized, and it was even better than I thought it was gonna be. There was so much energy, and I just felt like it was the first place I'd been where the energy of the place matched my energy, and it was so special, and I've never regretted doing that. And even though there were times doing that were very challenging or very isolating, and times when I didn't know what I was going to do next, it was so impactful and formative. Like, it helped me become who I am. And anyone that I've met that's moved away from their hometown, they are a great person. It has made them great. It has built their character. It has given them personal fortitude and strength and wisdom and resourcefulness. And even though right now you're like, I don't know where to start, I have no idea what to do, I would say book the ticket and just go. Because it's really easy to feel like I have to figure this all out before I do it, but actually leap and the net will appear and you will have the adventure of a lifetime. So have a great fucking time and send me a postcard. All right, let's go for our second question.
Gala, I'm evolving and noticing that my friendship circles are just not feeling as good anymore. It's like we don't have much in common. How do I navigate this?
This is very common, especially when you're evolving and developing and really shifting your ways of seeing the world, or changing your subconscious programming, or starting to really examine the beliefs that you have and realize that maybe what your parents told you about life doesn't feel true to you or doesn't feel like a match. And as we do that, we start to change who we want to hang out with and what we want to do with those people. And it can be a very isolating time. And sometimes we feel like this feeling of isolation is really a problem that needs to be solved. But I've had many periods of isolation in my life that have actually been fertile ground for me to figure out more about who I was and figure out what I really wanted to do and what I really stood for and how I wanted to spend my time. And especially, even the question before, when you're moving around, you do have periods where you don't know a lot of people. Maybe you have a couple of friends online that you connect with, and you don't need to have a million friends to feel loved and connected. And it's great just to have like one or two people that you can talk to. And if you do have that, then you're really fortunate, and give them all your love and all your gratitude. But I think it's important to explore this time where you're in this limbo state. You haven't met those new people yet, and you're still connected to the old people. And those people are not necessarily bad or wrong, they're just on a different pathway than you. So while you're in this limbo and you're waiting to meet these new people, explore yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want to do with my free time? Is there a class I want to take? Is there something I want to study? Do I want to go to like an improv acting class, or do I want to learn how to make pasta or whatever? And you'll find also, as you experiment with these things and do these things, that you will meet people that you actually have things in common with. So even though it feels isolating and that can be really hard, and I don't want you to, hold off on reaching out to people if you really are feeling alone, but embracing the solitude can be such an informative and beautiful time in your life. And I wouldn't want you to miss that because you're looking outside of yourself and hoping that other people are going to fill that space for you. It's a space that you get to fill yourself, and it gets to be an artistic, beautiful, joyful time. We actually have an entire episode on friendship coming up that you are going to love. It is so juicy, but for now, let's get into some tapping. Now let's get into some tapping on moving into making these changes really easily. If you've never tapped before, it's very simple. You're just gonna tap on some points along with me and repeat the words that I say. So let's start here on the top of the head. Sometimes I feel like change is impossible. Sometimes I feel really locked in. Sometimes I feel like my identity is set in stone. And it prevents me from making the big shifts and the curious leaps that could be so much fun. And sometimes I feel like people will judge me if I change. Sometimes I worry that change means I'll be by myself. But I know this is just an old, fearful thought. And I know that a thought can be changed. The truth is that when I show up as my new, fabulous self, It'll be easy to attract brand new people. I'll be more magnetic than ever. And I'll get to use my life as an experiment, like a joyful art project that will help me feel free and liberated and full of joy. So even though sometimes I feel stuck and small, even though sometimes I don't know where to begin, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. And I'm willing to give myself a chance to evolve, a chance to expand, a chance to grow and stretch, and most of all, to have a lot of fun. It gets to be so easy. And I get to start now. All right, take a deep breath in, hold it at the top, and let it go. If you want more information about tapping, go to highvibehoney.com. We're here with Erin May Henry, a YouTube superstar, and she is here to talk to us about rebranding your life, starting over, starting from scratch, reinvention. And a little side note is that I spoke to Erin a few months ago and I said, I really need help with my YouTube. What do I do? And she was like, you need a show. So this whole thing that you're seeing is her brainchild. And Erin's superpower, or one, she has many, but one of them is that she can see what a universe of potential surrounds someone and tell them how to get there.
Universe of potential. I am literally getting that tattooed on my forehead.
You should. No, and that's why I'm really excited to talk to you about this idea of rebranding, because you are so good at putting together a system for something that seems so scary to people. Mm-hmm. So people wake up and they look at their life and they're like, wow, this is not who I want to be. This is not what I want to do. And it can be really intimidating to start. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what does reinventing your life look like? And maybe for you, what are some examples of you reinventing your life?
So I want to tell my story because I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people, a lot of women specifically, because I know they go through a similar situation to what I went through. But this is where I really learned the power of reinvention, the power of reinventing my life. So I was in a long-term relationship with my ex-fiance. We were together for 7 years and it was fine. You hear so many stories of women cheating, fighting, all of this kind of stuff. I was in one of those relationships where it's like, I can't leave because there's nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. There's nothing threatening, there's nothing bad, we're not fighting, but I just wasn't lit up. I wasn't excited. I got to the point in this relationship where I felt like I did lose myself, but then I got to the point where I was questioning, did I ever know myself in the first place? Right. And so it took me a really, really, really long time to find the courage to leave that relationship, because I really do think when there's no reason,
it's so much harder. It's so much harder.
I was so afraid of, obviously you're afraid of hurting your partner, you're afraid of what people will think. I was turning 30 at the time that I did decide to leave that relationship, middle of lockdown, all of the things. But it was just such a scary, scary, scary decision that I had to make for myself. It was on my mind for such a long time. I was mulling it over, but it came to the point I was actually driving with one of my friends and she was rambling, talking about something, and I was telling her about my situation, and then she just basically said to me, are you willing to have fun for the rest of your life? Honestly, it was just in that moment where I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I can't sit there at 90 years old and just live in fine. I have a tattoo on my arm that says be extraordinary. And I had that before this situation, by the way. So it was in that moment where I was like, I have to make that decision. Now, timing wise, maybe not the best. So it was at the end of 2020 in Melbourne, Australia. We actually had a full another year of lockdown that followed that. So 2021, we were full in lockdown. So I ended my relationship. He moved out. It was very clean. I feel very grateful for that. This isn't a sad breakup story.
Right.
But what it is a story of a woman who'd never lived by herself before. Now all of a sudden couldn't leave her house, couldn't go 5 kilometers away, like all day, every day with myself. The best thing.
Wow.
I had to face myself in a way that I have never had to face myself before. You know, I've always been like a confident, outgoing, spontaneous, like I've got all these quirky personality traits, which I'm sure we'll get into, but this was really one of those moments. I was 30 years old. I was in this house by myself, running my business still, like that's just a side note to it all, but I just had to face myself. And what really kicked off this journey of reinvention, getting to know myself, as I call it, becoming the coolest person that I know, was I read the book Single on Purpose.
Okay.
It is a life-changing book. Like anyone
I've never even heard of this
single,
book.
in a relationship, been married for 20 years, read this book.
Okay.
Because, and I know this is a theme that you discuss a lot with your other guests and friends, that, you know, women tend to lose themselves in relationships when they become a mother. Even in business, women just, we mold and shift and change to fit in the environment in which we're in. We're really good at that. And if we do it for too long, it can lead to the loss of identity. And this book really shook that concept up within me. And so from that moment, from reading that book, I really just made a dedication, not only to getting to know myself, but to really choosing who I wanted to be. Because you have that, like we are full-grown adults. We're not only just allowed to choose what we eat for dinner, but we are allowed to choose what to wear, who to be, the partners that we have, the friends we have. We are allowed to choose. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I didn't realize I had permission. And I know a lot of women don't realize that as well, but we are actually allowed to choose.
Yes.
And so I went on this full-blown, like, changed my life to the 10th degree. I started motorbike riding. I was already doing Muay Thai, but I really, really threw myself into that. I just threw myself, I bought DJ decks, like, all of it. The ADHD came out a little bit there, but I just threw myself into all of it. And it was through actually the process of exploring all of these hobbies that I got to know myself, and that I allowed myself to reinvent. And I'm still doing it to this day, like reinventing myself over and over and over again. But really, why I tell that story is because, first of all, you have to recognize that you have to give yourself permission.
Yes.
And that you are allowed to choose.
Yes.
And that there's no wrong choice.
Yes. Well, I love that. I love the permission to choose, but also I think something that you do a lot, and we have spoken about this, is the permission to change your mind.
Yes.
Because sometimes we think, okay, I'm exploding what I know, I'm picking this, and I'm going to stay there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, life used to be very different. You'd buy a house and you would live there until you died.
Yeah.
You would get one job, you would work there until you retired, and then... Yeah, exactly. And now we really get to choose multiple times throughout our lives. And so how comfortable does it feel to evolve for you?
Terrifying.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Always.
like, how, like, would you say, I don't know, would you like put a ratio of like, here's how often I feel uncomfortable versus I actually feel comfortable?
I feel uncomfortable more often than not.
Really?
Yeah. But again, I will say that's probably because of how fast I evolve. I don't actually, and this is something live therapy on camera, like I know something I really need to work on is like the grace period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I need to get into the power of now. I need to really enjoy things as I build them. I'm very much like with business even, I'm like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And that is a detriment to me.
For sure, because I think that sometimes evolution is always about chasing the future self.
100%.
But it's so delicious to marinate in your existing self and be like, I'm fucking fly.
Right? I think your process of doing it is actually probably the healthiest. And at whatever speed that happens, I would probably do it faster, but almost just like expanding, operating here, enjoying life, being present, you know, the fruits of your labor, soaking it all up. And then when it starts to feel like I'm satiated, I've had enough, then we go in, we do the things, we clean the fridge, you know, we have the team meetings, we assess the relationships, then we get the inspiration, and then we start again.
Yeah.
And some people that could be the course of 20 years. Some people it might be 6 months. You know what I mean? We're all going to do it at different rates, but I think we're geniuses. We've just developed the system for evolution in this episode. But like, I think that's really, really good for people to know is those indicators of what needs to come now.
Yeah. And I think also when people are manifesting a place that people feel like they've fallen off or things aren't right, is they reach a goal and then it doesn't actually feel as exciting as they thought it was going to feel. Yeah. And then they feel like they've wasted 5 years, 10 years. Why was I doing this? And they feel this emptiness after they reach this peak. But I think that for me, it's one of the reasons why it's so important. Like, can you learn to enjoy the journey?
Right. I was going to ask you there, what's your opinion on that? Because obviously,
Yeah.
like, as women who've achieved a lot in business, and, you know, when you first start out, you're like, I don't know, for example, like, I'm going to make 6 figures or whatever, you know,
Right.
like just the numerical thing. And it's like, it's going to be so exciting. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then you get there and you're like,
Right.
like, what am I having for breakfast today? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like, it's so normal. Like, for you, did that feel when those experiences first happened? Did it feel a little bit sad? Or?
Yes, I remember when I got my first book published and I went to visit it at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
And I walked over to like the self-help section and I pulled it off the shelf and I literally felt nothing. And I thought, oh my God, I've wasted like my whole life. I wanted to publish a book and this was a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
And then I had to like sit with myself and be like, okay, hang on a second. And what really came clear to me over time was that the peaks of that book writing experience, the first peak was, I actually really enjoyed writing it. It was fun to write it. Like that was a joyful experience. The second one was when I went to my publisher and I signed the deal. Like that was really exciting for me because it felt like they were validating me, even though that's nonsense and I now don't need that because I know it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
At the
it's
time
exciting
it
the
felt
first
great.
time, yeah.
And the third piece about that I love is when I get a message or an Instagram story from someone and they've got my book in the bath and it's got like tabs in it and it's highlighted, or they're like, I buy this all the time and I always give it away to my friends. It's like my 10th copy.
Yeah.
Like the idea that it's in someone's house with them,
Yeah.
that's really fulfilling and gratifying.
Yeah.
So sometimes the end result that you pictured is not really the peak. There's like some other beautiful peaks along the way or even afterwards.
Yeah, and that's exactly why my favorite word is like becoming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like that is where the juice of life is.
Yeah.
In the, oh my God, I went to my first pole dancing class and it sucked, but it was so fun. Like,
Yes.
And then you go tell all your friends about it and stuff like that.
Yes.
Or like you meet someone new and you like, you know, I know we wouldn't do this in actual romantic relationships, but like the first few months of meeting someone new, the butterflies, the excitement, the anxiety as well, but that's dichotomy, right? But like you can live in that state constantly in different areas of life.
Yes.
Trying out a new style, starting something new in business, trying a new hobby,
Yeah.
going to a new country. Like the deliciousness of the experience we have when we try something new,
Yeah.
I really do think is a big part of why we're here.
Yeah.
To try, to learn, to evolve, and to teach.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And how much bigger our lives can get when we try these new things, because if you never went to Turkey, for example, how different could your life be? Like you fall in love with some guy there
Yeah.
and your life completely shifts.
Yeah.
You know, and we're missing out on so much when we're like, well, I'm an accountant and I wear green and brown and black and white and
Yeah.
this is my life.
How are you ever supposed to have your like sliding door moment if you never miss the train? You know?
Right.
Like you've got to be constantly putting yourself in your environments, because just like I said with Muay Thai, and it's such a small thing, but like it has given me beyond such a different zest on life. It literally all of my friends pretty much now are from my Muay Thai community. You know, people always ask the question like, how do you make friends as an adult? Well, it's through my business or it's through Muay Thai. Like it was my support network when I was going through my breakup and all of this kind of stuff. Like literally one day just waking up and deciding to put on a pair of shorts and go to a class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just we have to put ourselves out there in that way, because it's those decisions, those moments when we follow intuition,
Yeah.
that begin the process of evolution.
And it's very intimate to kick someone as hard as you can.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's so great.
It really is.
I love it too. It's like my favorite.
There is nothing better. I'm a real fan of like the stomach punch. Like a good cross right to the gut.
Oh my God, I love that. So do you ever find that you feel uncomfortable or uncertain because people want to put you in a box or they want to define you? Like I introduced you as a YouTube superstar, but do you ever feel like you need to be able to niche it down or not really?
this is one of the things that I think about a lot, and especially in like TikTok culture and today's society, because we are obsessed with, I say we, but I'm looking at the Gen Z, are obsessed with like labeling things, you know what I mean? In terms of like the aesthetics. You're a clean girl, you're a this, you're that, you're the other. Again, it's like, let me paint a little box of how my life should look by what I'm seeing in a little screen, and let me fit every part of my existence into that. And we're obsessed with job titles, like people are always so quick to like define themselves. There are parts of us, you know, our nationality and all of these things that are obviously incredibly stable, but the parts that are a little more malleable, that can change over time, I feel like we do ourselves such a disjustice by trying to label ourselves in that kind of way. I have just always had a disdain for labels, because I have such a dichotomous personality in that, you know, when I was growing up, people would always call me a tomboy, like a tomboy, and as I got older, I'm like, well, you know, a tomboy has to look like this and speak like this and have this. But then what if I actually want to wear like, you know, a sexy dress or a pink gown or whatever that doesn't fit in my box? Or if I'm a YouTuber, or if I'm a business mentor or whatever, then I can't do this project because that doesn't fit in, you know, it doesn't fit in this little frame that I've made for myself. So I think that the answer is always, if it feels good for you intuitively, then absolutely go for it. You know what I mean? Again, we're all so different. Some people really thrive with definition. But for some, and for those of you out there that have really struggled with I can't define myself by an aesthetic or a job title or a niche or whatever, just who cares? Let people call you what they want to call you. You know what I mean? People are always like, what do you want to be called? I'm like, call me however. I love that you call me a YouTube superstar. You know what I mean? And if that's like something that means about me, that means something to you, then that's absolutely amazing. But I don't want to have to control how other people see me, because that's just too exhausting.
It is exhausting, and you can never really control how they see you anyway. And I always feel like our labels become our limitations.
100%.
As soon as you pick a label, you're really just guaranteeing that in 2 years' time, you're going to have to unweave that whole blanket.
100%. When people ask me to write a bio, I'm like, ChatGPT. Who is Erin May Henry, the YouTuber?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I just think, again, like one of my arch nemesises is things that are ultra definitive. You know, when people try to say that this is the only way to do something online, or if this is exactly how I have to be, like we restrict ourselves from so much possibility.
Yes.
When we do that, when we're like so restricted, you know, I'm a rebel at heart. Like all of those rules that we've created for ourselves that we thought brought us safety and comfort, but actually it brought us, I mean, this is a whole nother thing, a lot of mental health issues and a lot of, you know, horrible things, but we have to break through those.
Yes.
We have to break through those, and when we do, that's what freedom really is.
Yeah. And when we give ourselves permission to do that, then we really are liberated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Love that.
I love it.
All right, let's do our sexy six.
Sexy six. We just had a whole conversation about literally me evolving and changing my mind. Now you want me to ask it.
And now I want absolute definitive answers to these questions, and you can't change your mind.
Ever again.
And you have to live with these for the rest of your days.
Okay. Let's make
This
them good.
first one is not about anything definitive, though. What did you want to be as a child, and how are you honoring that today?
I wanted to be famous. I used to make little like CD covers, like yes, CD covers, okay. But like I would like make pictures, and I would cut my face out of family photos and put them on like Britney Spears' face.
Oh my god, I love that
But also
so
another
much.
thing I really did a lot of times make movies.
Yeah.
Like I would always Windows Movie Maker, just making little movies. Graduation, vitamin C in the back. Pictures of my friends. Yeah, so I guess famous on the internet. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
I think you nailed it. That's so great. All right, what's the name of the movie of your life?
The Evolver.
I see it in kind of like an action movie
like the
font.
Equalizer, yeah. Just coming out with like Muay Thai in one thing and like a puppy in the other.
Right, and you're like holding onto a train, moving at
Obsessed.
super speed. Okay, who is on your spiritual board of directors and why?
This one changes so regularly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Spiritually, Ra, the god of sun, is who always comes to me in meditation. But if we're talking like Famous people that I'd like to ask questions to, Trixie Mattel, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. In terms of like who I would think of when I'm trying to make decisions career-wise. Or RuPaul.
Love that. Men in wigs.
And Cher.
And Cher.
And I'm gonna keep going. And let's get and this person. Wait, and that person.
No,
All of them.
That's beautiful.
Every campy person that ever lived, basically.
Why is camp so good? Is it because
Creativity expression.
Yeah, and it's like embracing the dichotomy of all that can be.
Yeah.
I'm like two opposite things smushed together, and you love it.
100%.
Yeah.
And that is me especially. Like, again, the camp is the dichotomy. Such a good way to explain it. And it's the permission to be all at once.
Yes, all at once. I remember hearing something about the reason why, what was it? About like why Cher has such a huge audience of gay men is because she can be masculine and feminine at the same time.
Yeah.
And she just switches back and forth constantly.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And she's such an icon.
Icon.
Love her.
I saw her live when she was 73, and she said she could still do a 3-minute plank. Like, what am I even doing with my life? We're doing planks after this.
Wow.
Now that I remember that.
We could have like the Cher Fitness Challenge
We
for
have to.
every guest. Okay, what is your life philosophy?
Becoming the coolest person I know.
I love that so much. It's such a simple way of just navigating through life.
Yeah.
What would the coolest person I know do right now?
Exactly. And it's just really the exploration of self-idolization, which again is another thing we don't give ourselves permission, specifically as women, to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole, we have to be humble, the good girl archetype, and there's so many different ways that I could explain this, or, you know, to fully self-prioritize or to love oneself is narcissistic. We just have so many crazy stories.
So many.
In society. Like, it's wild to think, you know, I've heard you say it before, like it's a way to keep us oppressed, right?
Yep.
You know, to keep us small in that way, because we're powerful.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, we're all
Extremely.
powerful, all humans powerful, but like, we make life, you know, we can. But the thing is, I just think this constant journey of getting to know yourself and loving that person. Becoming the coolest person you know is almost just like the becoming and evolving, but loving yourself in the process.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, a lot of people think, when I become, then I can love.
Then I can love myself, yeah. But I can't love myself in the process.
No.
I'm not good enough yet.
And that's what it is. It's idolizing yourself as you are now, but also not remaining stagnant. You know, not saying I love myself so much that I'm never going to change my body, my style, my career. You know, I'm just fully like, I'm perfect as I am.
fully
That's not
formed.
true either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's also a restricting mindset.
Yes.
And so it's loving yourself exactly as you are, every curve, every bump, every flaw, but also recognizing, hey, I want that thing over there. And then allowing yourself to go for that and loving yourself through the whole process.
Yeah. Yeah. Which also brings you into the present,
Exactly.
which is beautiful. What's on your bucket list?
Everything. Everything all at once. That movie was written about me. No. A few things. Okay, I would... God damn. Do you know one thing was on my bucket list for so long is I want to wear a Bob Mackie.
Oh, that's a great
Talking
item.
about Cher, that's one thing.
No, I love that.
But that's like the general gist of my bucket list. It's like really random things, very random and specific things like that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I love that. It's beautiful, and I see that in your future.
Thank you. I'm
Yes,
gonna write a
shimmering
poem
on
about it.
stage. Okay, finally, what would you like your tombstone to say?
God, that's actually a hard one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a picture on it of a puppy and say she loved dogs. After everything, she loved dogs. Full stop.
That's beautiful.
There's like too much to summarize, but the one constant is that I love dogs.
That's amazing. All right, well, that was epic. I hope that this has inspired you to take something that's not working and shake it up and make no apology for doing so.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And how do we find you?
So, Erin May Henry, anywhere on the internet.
Easy. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, gorgeous. I hope that you are loving Vortex Vision so far. And if you enjoy the energy here, you're really gonna love the energy in High Vibe Honey. High Vibe Honey is the biggest and longest running EFT tapping membership in the world. For 6 years, we've been helping creative cuties, self-made entrepreneurs, stay-at-home mums, and everyone in between rewire their beliefs so that they can experience completely different lives. High Vibe Honey is designed to deliver on 3 major concepts: big love, bang and body, and billionaire baddie. If you're looking to attract more aligned partners, love your body so much that you finally feel sexy naked, or manifest doubling your income but nothing is working, this community is for you. High Vibe Honey is actually fun, engaging, and juicy. When the work feels like play, you'll expand faster and look forward to doing it. I have 17 years of experience tapping with thousands of people around the world, which means you're getting the very best guidance, all completely focused on getting you the results you desire. High Vibe Honey's community and live sessions keep you accountable. We don't just leave you to it. Our infamous live sessions and therapist-guided support calls mean you're not doing this alone, because our community is over 1,000 strong. It's seriously one of the most joyful places to be online. If you're interested in High Vibe Honey and you're ready to tap into a life that turns you on, check out highvibehoney.com or follow the link in the description. Wow, that was such an amazing episode, and I hope that you feel just as lit up and sparkly as I do about all of that. I want you to remember that no matter where you are in your life, there's nothing that you cannot change, and the people that are doubting you or say you can't do it are simply operating from their own limited perspective. It does not have to be your perspective, and you don't need a permission slip from anybody to change anything about your life. It's never too late to start. We've created some amazing resources for you to help you on rebranding your life, which I'm very excited for you to get into. All you have to do is go to vortexvision.co and you can get it all lickety split. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.